Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the 808 Podcast. It's a podcast where we take business owners, CEOs, marketing directors, whoever else I feel like. 4 questions, 8 minutes and 8 seconds, because 808 looks like Bob, and here we go. Question number 1 in a couple sentences. Tell me who you are and what do you do?
Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Kevin Miller. I serve as the CEO of Legal Sifter. We're an artificial intelligence company that helps people manage their contracts better. I'm a licensed attorney and have an MBA and have been leading global businesses for 20 plus years.
Love it, Kevin. Question number 2, what advice do you want to share? Go.
Well, I've spent my career in 4 companies, all of which drove significant change in industries that were dying to be changed. Mm-hmm. And I've become a student of change management. And I think any great leader, whether you're a formal manager or not, needs to be a student of change management. So my advice, and I haven't invented anything, is to follow John Kotter's advice on change management, Kotter. He's written some excellent stuff on leading change, and John teaches us an 8-step process to drive major change in organizations. And if you follow that change, you're more than likely to be successful.
Perfect. So what are some of those steps and things people can do?
Yeah, the first step, and it's a step that many people miss, is to establish a sense of urgency whenever you want to drive change. You know, in my house, I'll just talk about my private life. You know, my manager is my wife. My second managers are my teenagers and kids. And, you know, I need to establish a sense of urgency with my wife and my executive sponsor. That's the number 2 step. First is to establish a sense of urgency. And the second is to get your executive sponsor and your team aligned. And if I don't do that at home, I'm not going to be very successful. Well, the same applies at work. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're going to drive change inside of your organization, you know, people need to understand why they need to change, more importantly than what you think the actual change is. Everybody wants to figure out how you're going to make the change and do things differently. But if people don't understand the context for why you have this sense of urgency to change things, you're not going to be very successful. So establishing a sense of urgency is step 1. Step 2 is aligning your team and your executive sponsor with that urgency.
Perfect. That works there. So how did you get that? Basically, it's that urgency in your business. What did you do specifically to make that happen?
Well, the first thing is to use your facts. You know, a lot of people think that to establish a sense of urgency, you need to use emotion. And while it's true that, you know, emotion leads, one of my friends always likes to say, emotion leads to action, or logic leads to conclusion, emotion leads to action. And while that's certainly important, what's most important is to use your facts. People need to understand what's going on in the current state that you dramatically have to make different in order to make everybody's lives better. Right. And so use your facts. You do that to establish your sense of urgency.
Perfect. Love it there. Let's get to question number 3. It is time for shout outs. Go for it.
You know, Bob, I'm happy to, I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of great global leaders in my tenure, and I'd love to give you some names offline.
Perfect. I'll allow it. There we go. Let's get to question number 4, the final question and the fun question. Kevin, tell me about your first sale.
Well, I'll tell you about our first 3 sales at Legal Sifter all at once. They all happened at once, and they showed us the potential of our organization. You know, they were with a law firm out of Puerto Rico, a law firm based here in Pittsburgh, and then a major regional bank, multinational bank. And, you know, we do about 80% of our business is done with companies, about 20% with law firms. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting about these 3 sales, which happened pretty much all at the same time, of our tool, Legal Sifter, which reads contracts and gives advice, is it was the same conversation. 3 diametrically different law firms, one law firm focused on healthcare, one focused on corporate practice, and then a bank, a very, very large bank, publicly traded Global 500 bank. And they all had the same issues with contracts. You know, contracts are hard to read and negotiate, and they're hard to keep track of. And we've got solutions that use AI and expertise and service to solve those problems. And we sold all 3 of them pretty much at the same time, having the exact same conversations. And what that showed us is how frequent contracts are an issue for people and how consistent the problems really are.
Love it there. So, hey, Kevin, you have 3 minutes and 33 seconds left. So here's what we can do. We can do some promo time. You can ask me a question. You can say objection just because you're a lawyer and it amuses me, whatever you want. Or Since the best know when to be concise and when to end, we end early. Go for it.
Yeah, I'd love to just give a quick pitch on what Legal Sifter does and how we solve problems, and then we'll end early. You know, contracts are the most important document in global commerce. We all have them in our personal and professional lives, and they are universally a pain. They are a pain before you sign them in that they're hard to read and negotiate, and they're a pain after you sign them. They're hard to keep track of, particularly for small, mid-sized, and large organizations. Most contracts on this planet are negotiated without the help of an attorney because attorneys are too slow and too expensive. We just can't afford to send all of our contracts to them, even though we'd like to. So we've built 2 products to help solve these 2 problems. The first one is called Legal Sifter. It reads contracts and gives advice. You upload your contract that you're negotiating before you sign it. It reviews it. It tells you what's there, what's not there, and gives you in-context advice to make sure you don't sign something you shouldn't, and also makes you faster. And for larger organizations, mid-sized organizations are concerned about cost, it makes you cheaper. But most importantly, it gets you to a better outcome in the actual agreement itself. And that's fueled by machine learning and natural language processing algorithms, things that read text and react to novel language, and expertise from some of the top contracts in the world, all on your desktop, available in a minute or 2. So you upload a document, in a minute or 2, you get a bunch of advice. The second solution we have is to solve the after you sign problem. I can't keep track of my contracts. We have something called Sifter Concierge. You send us your agreements. It's like you're depositing money in a bank. You deposit your contracts with us. We will use artificial intelligence and paralegals and lawyers to extract the data out of those contracts that you need to keep track of them. We'll map all your amendments to your parents, keep track of all of your dates, set up alerts, set up reports, manage a repository for you, which is available to all of your users at any given time. And we're your contract librarian, because the issue that people have is they have all these contracts, but it's like buying a bunch of books and sending them to the library and they're on the floor. You just can't keep them organized. We organize them for you. That's really important to keep track of your contracts so you don't miss a date or unintentionally auto renew. So that's a service with artificial intelligence, lawyers, and paralegals, Sifter Concierge. Those are the 2 solutions we have. Bob, it's been a real pleasure to be on your podcast today, and I thank you for the time.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate having you on, and you pulled it off. 4 questions in 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Kevin, why is it 8 minutes and 8 seconds?
Well, it reminds me of Bob.
I love it. Love it there. Hey, your website, say it real quick.
LegalSifter.com. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And it's in the description. It's magic. Kevin, thank you so much for being on. Tip of the hat to you.
Take care.
You're welcome there. And for everyone else watching or listening, I'm legally required to tell you to like, share, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell. You know, all that stuff there. You all have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.